Hey guys, Gemma from ASD Rocks. So I've been asked today actually by quite a number of people to go over how we choose our support workers and how we do our interview process. Now, obviously this is not going to work for everyone. It's just in my experience, I have learned the ways that work for us and for Bo. There's a couple of things that we need to tick when it comes to finding a support worker. And the biggest thing for me is that I do not go through any disability companies. I'm not looking for a disability support worker, someone who does that for their career. I never ask for references and those sorts of things. Yes, of course, police check and those sorts of things. But when we look for someone who we want to be with Bo, I'm looking for a person, not a set of qualifications. I also, I don't want someone who works full-time in disability because they can tend to be very stuck in that this is a person with a disability thing, and that can impact on the way that they work with Bo. So the way that I do it, the way that I advertise is different and the way that we interview is different. So first, by advertising, last time, I do it the same but on different pages. So when we got Jess, I put out a Facebook ad on my local community hub. I wanted them to be someone local. I didn't want them to be driving from here to there. I wanted someone that it only took, however long to get just to pop round, not because of the cost of the travel and that companies charge travel and all of that sort of stuff, but just because it makes things so much more flexible when you don't have to take into account, what time can they start because they live this far away, or what time do they have to finish because they have to get to wherever from that far away. So I always want someone local. So the first time to get Jess, I put out an ad for a support worker, and it was on a local community hub. This time I did it a little differently, and I'm actually really glad I did, because I knew I would never find another Jess. We knew we would never find another Jess. So everybody has a background, whether that background is, whether you're an expat, whether you've got specific interests, Stevens, would you like a special dinner? I'll get back to him later. Sorry. Oh, he throws me. He's just been over here with a plunger on his forehead, I'm telling you. Get back, Gemma, get back. Okay, backgrounds. Yeah, so there may be a religious background. There may be an ethnic background. There may be a particular thing that you like. And there's always a Facebook hub for it, right? So whether it's the local footy hub or whether it's the local if you want to stick within, like if you're Greek and you want to stick within your community because that's what you want to do, or if it's if your kid has a passion for Lego, there'll be like a Lego lovers whatever. So I went on to a specific page which was to do with my background, and so very clearly I was saying, I put a thing out about Bo, but I said that I was looking for someone who had a very, very strong background in physics, because that's where he's going. He's heading in that direction. And if I can find someone who is heading in the same direction, who is older and can model and display and is going through what he's going to be going through, that gives him a peek into the future of what it'll be like at university. So if they're like a third year engineer, so Benji, who is in the picture, I spoke to him today, and he was very happy for me to, I explained about ASD Rocks, and, would he be happy to be a part of that, or did he want to keep it separate? No, he was absolutely happy. He was thrilled to hear about it. Very interested, wanted to watch all the videos, so that was great. So Benji is one of 3 that I got off this particular Facebook community page. And I explained that I had a 17-year-old autistic boy who had a very strong academic connection and, loved physics, chemistry, sciences. And I was looking for someone that had the same capabilities, above, obviously. And other than about 100 mothers who all wrote in and said, oh my gosh, my son, my daughter would be perfect for this, I got three really, I got lots of applications. Lots of people wrote in and just messaged and said, hey, some of them fit time-wise but didn't fit whatever. They never made them in the door. Now, the second part of the process is, that's the clincher, okay? So you put what you're looking for. And what I was looking for was someone who was going to basically be Bo in 3 years, 4 years, right? If I can find a 22, 23-year-old who is treating Bo like a 22, 23-year-old would treat them, right? So a lot of support workers can be very tied up on OH&S, the way they'll speak to your child, the way that they will behave around them. I'm trying to set my son up to survive in a neurotypical world. I need neurotypical people who are learning alongside with Bo. Any person that I actually let come into the house, obviously have been through the vetting process that I go through, but most importantly, I don't want them treating him like he's a kid with autism. I want them treating him like he's a teenager, like other kids are going to treat him, because then he gets used to what is called the vernacular language. So vernacular language means, for those of, I'm sure many of you do understand it, but vernacular language is it's your local language, and local is more, it's not about, how people in, say, Miami speak as opposed to people, that's actually exactly what it is. It's, as opposed to people who speak the way they speak in, say, Seattle. I don't know, I'm pulling things out of my head because I don't know America very well. But it's not about accents. It's not like, a Sheffield accent versus, a London accent or whatever it happens to be. That's not what it's about. Teens will have a vernacular accent. Doesn't matter where they're from. They've got ways of saying things and ways of talking to each other that a professional just wouldn't do, because they're a professional. And I don't want someone like that for Bo. I want someone who's going to bring out Bo's natural personality. I don't want him to get to year 12 next year and not be able to speak teen or 22-year-old. I don't want him to get to university and not be able to understand the way, the lingo, the way they're speaking. And that's what I'm sort of talking about when I say vernacular language. It's the lingo. It's the way that kids talk to each other. So that's why I don't tend to go for people who work in disability, because it's their profession and they're very professional. And it's hard to crack that nut open when what you really want is a human being. So by advertising on this community Facebook page, I not only am getting someone with a very similar background and ethnicity to what we have, but I'm also getting someone, because I've advertised for someone who is an older version of Bo, who can model, and also help him with his work and discuss things on a level that I can't do. And I can't imagine many disability workers being able to sit down and have the kind of physics discussion about talk. You guys saw the homework he's doing. I can't do that. What effect gravity has, what the forces that come into, whereas they can sit down. So Benji's doing a double degree at university. How he fits us in, I don't know, but as soon as football starts up, he'll be straight back in at that. That's Aussie rules football, for those of you who when you think football, think soccer or American football. He's an avid football player, and obviously we're not. But hopefully he can take Bo out someday and, make him less scared of balls. But he's also 22 and he loves video games, and that was the first time that I have it. See, Bo's been really stressed out about school, really stressed out. And every time that Benji comes over, or anyone, we've got another two who I won't mention until I, speak to them. But every time he comes over, Bo is like, he knows that this guy's on his level. And he can talk to him in this physics and chemistry and biology language that I just wouldn't. And so he wants to sit down and do that because he's a bit stressed out at school, and it relieves his tension and those sorts of things. But because Bo's had a huge number of exams, I actually broke that rule. I said, no sitting and chatting about this. We need a circuit breaker. I said, Bo, I want you to take him upstairs. I want you to go and play some video games. Go chill out. Benji's eyes lit up like anything. Of course, Bo chose the worst bloody game to start with. But once we got on to the right game, the two of them were having a ball. So, okay, once the applications start coming in, how do you then know whether they're going to be capable, whether they're going to fit in? I mean, just because you put them in from the same ethnic group or the same background or the same, whatever, or interests, does not mean that they're going to be right for the morals and values you have in your family, the child that your child is, the person, and also how the family works. So we have a really interesting way of doing the actual interview. So once they're vetted, and once I've seen that, who they are, because I don't do that with Bo, I do that on my own, and I have a chat and I tell them all about Bo, and we talk about it and see if they're interested, if they're not, if conversation flows freely between us, usually on Messenger, and then I bring them in and we play either Cards Against Humanity, Joking Hazard, or Quiplash. Now, Quiplash is the greatest one to play, and it will filter out, but this is my family, guys. You know how they are. I bake cookies, they make jokes that they're not going to, eat it because they're worried I've spiked it with LSD, or, we're a very relaxed, open family. And while we don't speak like that all the time, laughter, joking, and fun is so important. Oh, Bo started running, stim running. It's so important. If my kid, Bo doesn't come out unless he's, like, you saw him in that photo. He's standing up. He's into it. Actually, apparently it's a live photo. I sent it to Stephen, and he said you can press down on the photo and you can hear Bo yelling and screaming at the video. So we play something really politically incorrect, because we are incredibly politically incorrect people. And I do that with Bo for a reason. I don't want Bo to end up being one of those highly sensitive, oversensitive people who care about or takes it personally when someone makes just a comment, a glib, quip comment about something, or uses the wrong word. Where language today has become so political, and I don't want Bo to be like a hold your breath, stamp your feet. I don't identify as that. I'm not going to say what I do with him to stop that, but my feelings on language. Language is everyone's, and I don't believe anyone can own this language. You cannot enforce someone to use English the way you want them to. So you cannot mandate language. For me, I understand that a stigma over the years of children being children have caused certain words to become, unused. But for me, those words represent what the word was originally made, right? Right now, you are sitting on my poof, right? I was raised by my grandfather, 1912. A faggot was a tightly bundled bunch of sticks. That's what a faggot is. That's where the word originates from. A faggot of sticks that are tightly bundled together. A poof is what you put your feet on. Retarded just means slow. A car can be retarded. None of these words, I don't want Bo ever being oversensitive, because you know what? The fact is that out there in the world, you're going to hear these words. And the only difference between the people that take offense are the people that take offense and get upset and spend their time getting really upset. Bo's not going to care. He's going to be home. He'll be like, yeah, whatever. Doesn't bother me. And that is exactly what I want out of my kid, right? Because I hear Finn and his friends and the way they speak to each other. I hear the way typical kids give each other shit and the way they talk to each other and what they call each other. And I'm telling you, they only call each other these words when they like each other. They don't do it to bully anyone at school. They do it amongst their friends as a joking, I like you, I'm going to give you a hard time type thing. So it's really important to me that this person can get used to the unpolitical way that we work. And if none of you know Quiplash, it's on Steam. It's a great game. Basically, you can have any number of people except for two. Two doesn't work. Three is meh. The more the merrier. And so Finn, myself, Bo, the person who's interviewing, and usually either Stephen or Richard, or we'll have someone. So we'll have five people, and it brings up a prompt. Everybody logs on with their phone. It brings up a prompt, and you have to write your own answers, and then everybody votes on which is the funniest. So Google it, whatever you want, but it's a really great way, because with Cards Against Humanity, with Joking Hazard, you've got to choose out of ones that are given to you. Yes, they're inappropriate. Yes, they're unpolitical, but they're there. Whereas this, you actually have to make up. And we see with Benji, it took him one round. And he was winning. Like, once he got and realized how we were playing and how dark, and that's something I mentioned in the advert, was that I had an incredibly bright but incredibly dark humor child, and never have we had anyone win, like kick all of us. He absolutely creamed us. So I knew that he could make Bo laugh. He could make us laugh, that he would be a fit with the family, not just Bo's person. You know, yes, he's there for Bo, but he's there to help Bo become an actual human being, behaviorally, verbally. He's there to help him mentally, but communication-wise, everything about having someone that doesn't work in disability, everything about having a good all-round, it's like having a best friend. And, if you could, how many of us as parents of kids with ASD, if you could buy a best friend with a genuine connection, I'm not saying buy a best friend to sit there and go, hey, I'll be a best friend, but actually have that connection. If you could buy your kid a best friend, how many of us would do it? That's how I do it. I don't look at pages. I don't want a disability support worker. I want a human being who's going to be a human and interact in our family as a part of our family. So look, it won't work for some of you, but that's how we do it. I vet, and then we throw them right in on the deep end. We had one person come round once, we didn't even get the game out. Like, we just looked at each other and went, this person wouldn't handle it, and they were out the door straight away. She just wouldn't have handled it. So that's the way we know. And the fact that Benji creamed us on the second round was just confirmation that he was going, because Bo was up there. You saw it, he was standing, he was swearing, he was dropping the F-bombs, he was dropping the MF bombs. And you know what? He's with a 22-year-old college student. That dude hears that every second day. He's not a professional. He doesn't care about that. He's not going to be there going, oh my gosh, this language isn't appropriate. Yes, it is. The kid's 17. It actually is appropriate. No, it's not appropriate to be walking down the street and saying it to other people, but learning how to speak to people of your age, some of you may very strongly disagree with this, but I think when you've come from where I've come from, where your child is completely non-verbal, appropriate swearing is just as good as any communication because they're using it correctly. Only those of you who have kids that are non-verbal will understand that, or have been non-verbal will understand that. You would do anything to have your kid say any word in the correct manner for the situation. And if that's a swear word, that is good enough because you can build on it. So look, that's how I do it, guys. I don't go through, and also I don't like paying a company. I prefer the money to go directly to the person who is doing the work. Companies take a lot of money for, just sending out someone. They get, quite a lot out of the amount that you pay. And personally, I would prefer that to go directly to the individual. So obviously they have to have an ABN. Obviously, depending on what they're doing, quite a few of my guys are NDIS approved as well. And that's how I find them, through community Facebook pages, local community, ethnicity, whatever it is, Facebook pages, and then throw them straight in the deep end with the most, if they can get us laughing, then they can do anything, because you cannot learn without a certain amount of enjoyment. Enjoyment is an integral part of a learning process. And if you're not enjoying it, if kids aren't enjoying it, they're just not going to learn. So yeah, that's it. Sorry it was so long, but it's a pretty intense process, and Steve messaged me and threw me off. All right. Let me know what you think.